Hello and welcome to the Vibrant Health Show. I am Dr. Shannyn Pearce, and today we're going to be talking about the best foods you can add in to help support gut health. If you've been following along this month, we've been talking a lot about gut health, liver health, just really our digestive tract, our digestive system, keeping a really good balance because your gut is foundational for just about everything, right? We forget how many jobs have to happen in our gut and our liver, right? We've kind of been talking to them about those things in combination this month. But your gut, I mean, there's a reason they say 70% of your immune system sits in your gut. It's because a lot of the activity going on there is helping fight things off and support immune function. It helps convert hormones. It helps with neurotransmitters. In fact, like 95% of your serotonin, which helps with a positive mood and a good outlook, is made in the gut. So if you have imbalances in those areas, not only could it make digestive issues, right? Like constipation, bloating, all of those things. But what people don't realize is even without digestive symptoms necessarily, you could be influencing a lot of negative effects in other areas, including hormone balance and mood, definitely. I mean, there's such a big brain and gut connection, memory. We've linked an imbalance in your microbiome to everything from Alzheimer's and dementia to Parkinson's to autoimmune disease to inflammatory conditions, all because our gut is like the main highway for everything to run through. So I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys lots of tips to, add right away today. A lot of what we're going to talk about is going to be super simple, all the way down to the more complicated things that you will need to do long term to make sure you're supporting good, proper gut health. So glad you guys tuned in. If you've missed the last several episodes, I would go back. We have them all loaded up on YouTube. Go back and watch, learn about your gut microbiome. It is so, so important to keep a good, healthy gut. And today we're going to talk all about foods that you can add right away to help support a healthy gut. As I go through, tell me, are you currently eating any of these? Do you use any of these things that I'm going to recommend for you? Let me know just where you're at on your gut healing. Hello, Miss Melissa. Nice to see you. I'll try and keep refreshing comments. If you're watching on the replay or on YouTube, go ahead and put some comments in the comment section. I'll come back and answer those. But let's jump right to it. I'm going to share 5 of my favorite foods to help support gut health. And then I'm going to give you a really simple way to add all of them in, right? I love simple. I love things you can actually do to start getting benefits right away. So first one, especially if you've worked with us one-on-one, I know that my nutritionist, Amanda, has talked to you about bone broth, right? I love it. And it became popular several years ago, which is funny because for thousands of years, right, we've been using bone broth, but like we forgot about it for a while. And all of a sudden it's like this new thing for your gut. There's nothing new about it, right? These are things we should have been doing forever. We just got away from it with all the processed food. But bone broth is such a healing food for your gut, right? It's one of the reasons why we give people soup when they're sick. Unfortunately, now we've gotten away from actual good homemade soup with bone broth. We're giving them canned crap that's full of toxins and gluten. So no, that's not the right way to do it. But the premise was a good homemade bone broth stock with soup is healing for your system and good for you when you're sick. But bone broth has maybe some surprising benefits that you might not realize. So one of the main things that is so good about bone broth is that it's soothing and anti-inflammatory to the gut lining. But in addition to that, because almost all the foods I'm going to mention today are anti-inflammatory, the cool thing about bone broth is it has the building blocks that can actually correct and fix the gut lining. So if you have leaky gut, which is also called hyperpermeability of the gut, if you have inflammation in the gut, not only will it help that, but it can actually help rejoin those tight junctions and eliminate leaky gut, which is huge because like we've talked about in one of the previous videos, leaky gut is tied to so many different chronic illnesses, disease, weight gain, low energy, all the things that we try to get rid of. If your gut is inflamed and you have leaky gut, those things are going to perpetuate, right? So fixing the gut is so important. And bone broth is such a really simple and delicious way to do that. Not only does it have those amino acids that are really helpful for closing up that gut lining, it has things like chondroitin sulfate and glucosamine, which are good for the gut lining, but also great for joints and to help produce collagen and elastin, so it actually can help with skin quality and anti-aging. Bone broth is really like the gift that keeps on giving because it helps everything from your skin to your joints, to your gut, to your inflammation. It's soothing for the immune system, and it's such a simple addition. I'm going to teach you in just a second my 3 easy ways that you can get your hands on some bone broth. But if you are not somebody who is consistently using bone broth as part of your healthy regimen, right? You don't necessarily have to do it every single day. Well, some of the things I'm going to teach you, you absolutely could. There's easy ways to get it every day, but at least a couple times a week. I mean, there's so many beautiful benefits to that. Head to toe, right? We're always looking for the thing that can make us look better and feel better. Bone broth is one of those things that's so easy, but has so many cool benefits. So tell me in the comments, are you currently doing bone broth? Have you before, but maybe you've fallen off? Have you never done it? Have you heard a lot about it, but have never actually pulled the trigger to try and do it consistently? I would love to know. Not only does it have the gut healing properties, but it's also full of nutrients and minerals, especially calcium, magnesium, and potassium, which are things that a lot of people are deficient in. But I'm not a huge fan of like calcium and potassium supplementation because there's lots of different cofactors and things that have to work together for them to be usable and not just get stored in the kidneys and the tissues. So bone broth is also a great way to protect your bones, right? Bone broth. If you want healthy bones, decreased risk of osteoporosis and osteopenia, bone broth is a great way to do that too. Flood your body back with the minerals you need to grow your own or support your own healthy bone structure. So truly, so many benefits. Gut, immune system, anti-aging, anti-inflammatory, helps support your joints, helps support your bones, decreases risk of osteoporosis and osteopenia. I mean, come on, if I haven't sold you on bone broth yet, how much more do I have to say to you? Just do it. Now, there are 3 easy ways that you can get some bone broth in. Number 1, you can make it, right? In a crock pot or a stock pot, or make it on the stove like you would normal, bone broth. I'll do that, every couple of months if we have a bunch of bones, or after the holidays, I'll make a big pot myself. That is my favorite way to do it. But reality is I'm probably not doing that every week, right? I might want to, but time doesn't always allow. So when I can, I will absolutely make it from scratch. But on the times that you can't, there are 2 really easy ways to do it. One, there's a company called Kettle and Fire. That's the bone broth we recommend because there's no junk added. There's no crap. It comes from good quality bones, which is important when you're looking at making a bone broth. You don't want, bones raised with a bunch of antibiotics or from really, poor sources. You want them to be as organic and pasture raised as possible. So Kettle and Fire has a really good quality, and you can buy it just about anywhere. I'll throw a couple boxes on, my orders, or if I'm at the grocery store, sometimes I'll just order, like 6 of them from Amazon. I just like to have them on hand because I'll add it to lots of different things, right? We'll cook with it. I'll just drink it straight. Sometimes I'll put it in smoothies, different things like that. But that brand, Kettle and Fire, is the one that we recommend you use because the quality is really good. Now, there's other ones out there. I'm just giving you simple advice on ones you can find pretty easily. And then the other easy option is to do a good bone broth protein. I'm going to talk in just a second about the importance of protein for your gut healing. So I like getting, double bang for your buck. So we recommend the Ancient Nutrition's bone broth protein. There's several different flavors, but again, the sourcing is clean. Quality is great. It tastes better. Some of them don't taste great. We like the taste of the Ancient Nutrition one. So if you want real simplicity, you just want an easy powder that you can scoop and add to something and still get all the beautiful benefits of bone broth, doing the Ancient Nutrition's bone broth powder is perfectly acceptable, right? You could do that every day. And then on times you can make your own pot. You can swap it in and out, a few times a year. But getting that bone broth protein daily, you're going to get the best consistent benefit if you're doing it over time, right? So between making it yourself, getting a pre-made bone broth like Kettle and Fire, or getting a bone broth protein powder, those are 3 easy ways that you can get some type of bone broth in your system almost every single day. So let me know if you use any of those 3 products, which ones you like the best, if there's one you like better than others. I'm going to try and refresh. I know it's last week I was having a hard time refreshing the comments, so I'll come back and look at those. But I'd love to hear your bone broth experience. I'm a big fan. We talk about it a lot. Number 2, this one is probably my favorite. If you've ever worked with me and you've come on and told me that you're constipated or your bowels aren't moving, I've probably told you I want you to go eat a bunch of Beets. Beets are magic for digestion, but they're also really good for digestive health as well. So one of the beautiful things about beets is they are so chock full of fiber, which is why they help you have more natural bowel movements, right? So in place of a laxative, you make a dose with some beets, things are going to push through. But it also has a lot of macro and micronutrients. So even just the vivid color of beets tells you something. That means there's a lot of nutrition in there. One of the other things I love about beets is it's full of natural folate, which is a B vitamin that the synthetic form is folic acid, which I never recommend you take folic acid. Most people can't tolerate it at all. Folate is the natural form. So anyone, I work a lot with women who have MTHFR or genetic issues going on, and adding beets is one of the best ways you can help with methylation and get that folate without always having to supplement, which also helps with gut health and digestion, right? If we're methylating better, if we're getting folate, if we have lots of fiber, we're getting all the nutrients and vitamins and minerals that are in those beets. Not to mention they're full of antioxidants as well, so it helps reduce inflammation. And I like them. I know not everyone likes the flavor of beets, but if you add them to other things, I bet you I could make you somebody who likes beets, right? I actually just had a lady, and you might be watching, she's like, before this, I would have never touched a beet. I would have never tried it, but then the one day the beet salad came across on the meal plans for that week, and she's like, I'm just going to try it. Turns out, right, if it's prepared the right way, they're actually really delicious. And now beets are something she likes to eat ongoing. And she notices she has really good bowel movements when she eats beets because they're fantastic for your gut health. So even if you don't think you're a beet person, give it a try, right? So you can add it to a smoothie. I will often like cut up some beets and blend it in. You really don't taste it, right? If you have some other flavors going on in there, I'll cut it up and put it on a salad. You can do it raw on a salad. You can roast them and put them in with a different like vegetable medley. So you're not only tasting the beets. Or what I like to do for my kids to sneak it in and they don't know is I'll puree it and put it in different sauces. So I puree beets and put it in my spaghetti sauce. They have no idea it's in there. Anything that I'm making that I can like blend up and chop up things, I'll just add a beet and put it in with the same other vegetables that I'm pureeing. And they really never know. It doesn't change that much, but you're still getting the benefit. So if you're not someone who just likes to eat straight beets, which I love to do, you can hide it, you can sneak it in, right? But try a couple of different things. I like doing it in juicing. I've done several videos about doing fresh vegetable juice. I always have beets in my fresh vegetable juice. Not only the beet, but the actual beet greens as well are so chock full of nutrients and vitamins and iron and folate and all of these things that are really common deficiencies. The beet and the beet green has you covered, right? So if you can put both of those things in a smoothie or a vegetable juice, you're really getting a ton of nutrition from one single vegetable, right? Simplicity is huge. But also just the biggest benefit of the beets is the fiber that helps those daily bowel movements, right? If you want a healthy gut, you have to be having a daily bowel movement or pretty darn close to it, right? I have lots of women who start with me who are like, I only go every 3 or 4 days. That is not okay, right? That's a lot of stuff building up in your gut. So having those healthy bowel movements. And then the beets also work a little bit like a pre and probiotic. It helps feed the good bacteria that continues to give you a nice balance in that microbiome. But I would say the biggest benefit to beets is the regularity, that things move through your body nice and natural, and you're not having to overstimulate with a laxative. So if you have a constipation issue, beets would be the first thing I would have you add for sure. You've got to get things cleaned out. Beets are fantastic for that. So let me know your opinion on beets and then try them again and come back and let me know once you try them again. So we talked about bone broth. We talked about beets. Number 3, I touched on it briefly, is protein, good quality protein. The amino acids, we talked a little bit when we talked about bone broth, but amino acids are literal building blocks for your body. We need these amino acids to help repair, to help make those proteins, to help with the gut lining. And protein-rich foods are full of amino acids that we don't always get in the quantities from other types of food. Proteins are really the ones that are the richest in these amino acids. Amino acids strengthen immune function, they help reduce viral load, but most importantly, they really help with the structure and the integrity of your gut lining, right? Again, if you've watched these last several videos, you know the function and the gut lining, the microbiome is the most important thing to focus on first, right? Because we can kill off a whole bunch of stuff, right? Bacteria and parasites, and we can do flushes and cleanses. But if you're not looking at the function of your gut, that stuff is just going to continue to circulate around your body. And not only will you not get better, in fact, you can make yourself worse if we don't focus on really making sure that we have good function in that gut. So protein, when it comes to protein, 80 to 100 grams a day. And I know most of you are not getting that, right? Like that seems like so much, but for a woman, that's the amount that we have to be hitting, 80 to 100 grams of protein per day. I challenged you in an earlier video, track what you think you're getting in a day, right? So there's lots of different apps, MyFitnessPal, there's plenty of other ones, right, out there. For the next couple of days, just punch in whatever you eat for the next 3 days. Don't change anything. Don't try to get more, just punch it in. And I'm curious on a regular day, how many grams of protein are you getting? I would bet you're maybe getting 50. That's the average number that comes back when I have somebody do this. They're like, oh yeah, I'm only getting like 50, maybe 60. I thought I was getting way more than that. When 80 is bare minimum, 100. And if you're somebody who's working out, 120. So if you're deficient in protein, you are literally deficient in the amino acid building blocks to help you repair, recover, and fix that gut lining. So just increasing your protein can make a dramatic difference in your gut. When it comes to gut health and bowel movements, we talk a lot about fiber, which is important, but you need equally as much protein to make sure all of that is moving through your system. So 100 grams of protein is the goal, between 80 and 120, depending on your activity level. But step one is, I'm curious how much you're even getting, because I bet you it's a lot less than you think it is. So do that experiment for the next couple of days and find out what your just daily intake is, and then you can work up from there. So protein, right? We got our bone broth, we got our beets, we got our protein. Number 4 is blueberries, right? Blueberries are one of the most powerful antioxidants. Antioxidants are anti-inflammatory, and most gut issues are stemming from some type of inflammation that started it. And from there, we have developed bacterial overgrowth and infections and all kinds of other things. But at the root of almost all gut dysfunction, we have inflammation. So the more we can do anti-inflammatory foods, antioxidant-rich foods, the better it's going to be long-term. And blueberries are the powerhouse for inflammation. They also help increase good bacteria and decrease bad bacteria, right? In a gentle way that's not too forceful. So they help balance out the microbiome, but most importantly, they're really, really attacking that inflammation with their strong antioxidant properties. Number 5, chia seeds. I've been talking about this for weeks. So if you haven't heard yet, then where have you been? But chia seeds are phenomenal for the gut. They work as a prebiotic to help seed the gut to be able to really grow its own good bacteria back again. But most importantly, they can work as a good clean out for your gut, and they are rich in omega fatty acids, which are very healing for the gut lining and also anti-inflammatory, also great for heart health and brain health and all of these other beautiful things. But most importantly, those chia seeds are really going to help clean out the gut. It's like a very gentle cleanse, especially when you let them get big and fluffy. So I often recommend doing a lemon chia water, which is where you let some lemon, like quarter to a half a lemon squeezed, with a tablespoon of chia seeds, sit in water for 3 to 5 minutes, let the chia seeds get nice and fluffy, and then drink those so that they can clear out the digestive tract, or you can add them to other things. You're going to get the good benefits of the omegas, of the nutrient dense, properties of chia seeds if you aren't soaking them, but you'll get additional gut cleansing properties if you're letting them get big and fluffy before you consume them. So if you're somebody who's like blending them in a smoothie, or you're putting them on top of like a non-dairy yogurt, that's still great. But if you're really looking for more of the gut health benefits, you definitely want to let them soak or be in the liquid a little bit longer so they expand, and that gives you more of that flushing effect. The cool thing about chia seeds, and I actually didn't really know this, well, I knew conceptually, but was reading an article about it, that ingesting chia seeds daily, they say between a teaspoon and a tablespoon, so you can start wherever, but it can actually reduce the symptoms or even eliminate IBS. It helps with reducing the abdominal pain. It helps with cramping. It helps with the symptoms that come along with IBS. And IBS is such a common symptom for people. So many people have symptoms of IBS and IBD, and simply just adding enough chia seeds on a daily basis has been shown scientifically to ease a lot of the discomforts that come along with that. So even if you don't have, right, IBS, it's still great for you. But if you do, all the 5 things we just talked about, adding those on a consistent basis could be a huge game changer for your system, for your gut, for all of the function of your microbiome. So don't forget about chia seeds. You can do it in the lemon water, or again, to be very, very simple, my favorite way to get all 5 of those things is to put them all together in a smoothie, right? So we can do our bone broth protein. That means you're getting the bone broth and the protein. We're going to add in some beets. We're going to add in some blueberries. We're going to add in some chia seeds. We're going to blend it all up, and we're going to have it in one smoothie. Now, what I do if I want the gut cleansing part of the chia seeds is I'll blend everything else up first. And you're going to want to add a liquid. So you can add water, or you can add a non-dairy milk, depending on if you have food allergies, whether it's almond milk or coconut milk, or choosing a non-dairy milk that suits your food allergy list. But you want to put some liquid in. You want to add those ingredients. And then I like to add the chia seeds at the end. So I blend it all together first. And then I add the chia seeds, and I let those sit in the liquid for about 3 minutes before I drink my smoothie. That way I'm getting the good flushing benefits of chia seeds, but then all of the other cool benefits of all of the other things that we talked about. So that is the easiest way. You can do that multiple times a week, right? We're not asking you for hours of food prep. I'm not making you think through a whole bunch of stuff. Adding simple things daily make a huge jump in the right direction for you. So maybe you're already doing a smoothie almost every day, and there's 1 or 2 things I mentioned today that you haven't added yet. Add those in. That's a great step in the right direction. If you're not doing any of these yet, right, choose a few or start a smoothie a couple days a week and notice the difference you feel in your body. Notice bloating, notice the health of your digestion, notice bowel movements, right? Are they more consistent? Are they firmer? Are they more regular? These are all things you're going to be able to see improvements on simply by adding 5 delicious, really healthy foods, right? So health doesn't have to be complicated. There's lots of layers that can go into it. Let's start here. So I want all of you, right, to be playing around with all 5 of these foods over the next couple of weeks and seeing how that goes. In addition to that, we've been talking a lot about making sure you're testing your gut microbiome, right? Most people have no idea what's going on in their gut and how much it's impacting everything. So for the month of January, because we're doing a lot of gut health, we actually have the sale on the comprehensive stool sample kit. So it's $50 off, and we're including your test review appointment with one of my doctors at no additional charge. So you're going to get to see on a stool sample your inflammatory markers, your digestion and absorption markers. Do you have yeast? Do you have bacterial overgrowth? Do you have parasites? Is there, weakness in your pancreatic enzymes? Is there triggers for autoimmune disease? These are all things you can find out from your body by doing a comprehensive stool sample. It is one of the things that I highly recommend everyone does every couple of years. Checking in and supporting your gut is the foundation of natural healthcare. So if you've never done a stool sample, now's the time to take advantage of it, right? So you're getting $50 off and the included test read, which could be hundreds of dollars on its own. And it's information that's so valuable. Or if it's been a little while since you've done it, it's time to retest, right? I recommend doing it every couple of years because things change. We're exposed to stuff. Our environment is toxic. Even if you've worked on your gut in the past, unfortunately, the work's never done, right? I keep checking mine. I keep working on myself because our lifestyle, the environment, the foods, unfortunately, the soil that even grows our good, healthy vegetables is just so much more depleted than it ever was before. So we want to make sure we're staying on top of keeping all of those things healthy and balanced. So if you've yet to take advantage of that stool sample, we only have a few days left in January where it is on sale, and you are getting that test review appointment included in the cost. So I'm going to put that link down below again. Pull the trigger, order your stool sample. Don't miss out on the discount. It is one of the most important tests you can do for your overall health. It's also my favorite test to start with kids. If you have kids with eczema or asthma or digestive issues, their stomach always hurts, a stool sample is a really great place to start with that. And then lastly, I just added a brand new supplement to my supplement store. It's actually not one of my supplements, but because I love it so much and we were using it so much, I wanted to make it really easy for people to order. So I added it on my store, even though it's not mine, it's just a company I love. It's called Ion Biome. It is the best just daily gut support. Now, it's not a probiotic. It's not a gut cleanse. It really has all the things that we just talked about, the minerals, they're called fumic acids, all of the things that because our soil's depleted, because we're not getting the food quality that we used to get, that's creating leaky gut in most of us, it really puts all of that together in a really easy to take liquid. You could do a quick teaspoon in the morning. You can add it to your smoothie. You can put it in water. It doesn't taste bad. It's safe for the whole family. This is one of the things I always start kids on, because if we can keep the integrity of their gut healthy their whole life, we're going to minimize their risk of chronic illness and disease. This is something we take almost ongoing. Every once in a while, I'll take a couple months off if I'm working on something else. But this is a good just staple in our lives. It's called Ion Biome. I'm going to put that link in the comments as well. If you're just looking for a great overall gut health support ongoing to minimize the inflammation that we're constantly exposed to, it's great, but it's also really good to help minimize some of the symptoms that come along with leaky gut. So it has really great benefits for memory and cognitive function. A lot of people who start it feel like they're thinking clearer. It has immune boosting benefits. It has anti-inflammatory benefits in addition to the digestive and gut benefits. But again, it's not just mega dosing with a probiotic, which, if you know me, is not something I ever start with, right? Sometimes you need it later on, but we never start there. That's not the problem. It's not wiping out your gut by using really harmful medications, antibiotics, or even some herbs that are too harsh. It is just a great, gentle support that's safe for the whole family and safe for long-term use, and a perfect thing to add in as just part of your daily wellness regimen. So I highly recommend adding that. I do about a teaspoon a day. You can go up to 2 teaspoons a day if you want, but a teaspoon a day is great for most people. Younger kids, they'll do like a quarter or a half teaspoon. If they're like 60 pounds or under, I would do a half teaspoon. If they're really little, probably over 2, I would start it with most kids unless they have really bad gut stuff. But my 2-year-old would take a quarter teaspoon, and now she's 4, she takes half teaspoon. So you can just modify doses based on what their weight is as well. But good for everybody, really great benefits, and really simple to add in. So you have 3 big things to focus on today. We have our 5 gut healthy foods we're going to add in. If you have not taken advantage of the stool sample, you are going to do that immediately today. And then adding in that Ion Biome for a great, gentle gut support that's beneficial for everybody. Those are 3 very simple ways you can make sure you're taking care of the most important area of your health and wellness, which is your gut and your gut microbiome. So thank you all for hanging out with me today. Go try some of those. Let me know how they go. And I'll see you back next week.